Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Transport Briefing for Wednesday, January 10th. Over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we've seen precipitation dropping down from the northwest, mainly affecting parts of southern Idaho, down into northeast Nevada, and the higher terrain of central and southern Utah. You can see the observed precipitation from the last 7 days on the left. We also had some good storms bring some new precipitation and snowfall to the Sierra. Over the last 14 days, however, it's still looking like most areas are below normal with respect to precipitation, but where these storms have dropped some precipitation, some areas are near to just above normal. Over the last 72 hours, we did have new snowfall up north in Idaho and down into Utah, and then you can see the snow depth there on the right. Our snowpack is still generally below normal across the Great Basin. Some small areas of northern Nevada into northern Utah and even southeast Utah are near normal for the time of year, but again, most areas seeing low snowfall totals. The satellite loop from this morning shows a large trough of low pressure really affecting all of the United States. We do have one system that's dropping into the Pacific Northwest in Idaho today, and this will push a cold front through the Great Basin over the next 24 to 36 hours, and it is bringing that snowfall to northern areas early this morning. It will bring that band of snowfall into northern Nevada and northern Utah throughout today, and then eventually push into southern areas of the Great Basin going into Thursday. So we are looking at snowfall really at most elevations. The only exceptions might be the very lowest elevations in the far southern areas of the Great Basin may see rain or a mix of rain and snow. Looking at the weather pattern again for later today, you can see that moisture and cold front dropping south into Idaho and northern areas of Nevada and Utah. So by later this afternoon, probably the northern half of the Great Basin will be seeing snowfall. Ventilation will be good. We will have some strong winds to deal with out ahead of this cold front. And you can see from the transport winds, that band of strong winds ahead of the front, we could see gusts above 50 or 60 miles per hour. In other areas where winds are not quite as strong, we will see those gusts in the 30s and 40s. So really breezy to windy conditions and even very windy in some locations, especially in the Sierra, the higher terrain, the Sierra front, and then stretching eastward across the Great Basin. Mixing heights, obviously with these stronger winds, will be quite high, and really high or moderate to high across the Great Basin. So for today, our temperatures will be generally in the 30s and 40s across the area with the exception of the far south. Behind that cold front up in Idaho, temperatures will drop into the 20s. Relative humidity will remain high in all areas, even with the stronger winds. So really no low humidity concerns at this time, but with the strong winds, certainly could see, if we do see those winds get above 60 or 70 miles per hour, we could see some issues with power. As we move into Thursday, that cold front sweeps south and east, so most areas will see decreasing precipitation as we go through the day on Thursday, but those colder temperatures with the breezy northwest winds. And you can see again gusty winds region-wide behind that cold front, so we will see the wind, then the snow, and then the breezy and colder conditions. So for Thursday, temperatures will drop into the 20s across much of the northern half to two-thirds of the Great Basin and into the teens in the higher terrain. Relative humidity still will be above 30 or 40%. We will see some drier conditions, however, in the very far southern areas of Nevada, along with some windy conditions, but again, no major concerns down there, but it could be something if we do get a start, we could see a brief run before relative humidity increases. On Friday, we still have another system dropping down in that northwest flow, so more moisture moving in Friday into the weekend for another continued chance of snow showers. Also stronger winds again on Friday as this next system drops down, so we could see those gusts again in the 50 to 60 mile per hour range. Those areas in brown, that would be that type of wind speed. So again, still looking at windy conditions for much of the Great Basin. Temperatures will rebound a little bit towards the end of the week, especially across Nevada and Utah, and relative humidity still remains high with that moisture moving in. Our 3-day precipitation, which takes us from today through early Saturday morning, you can see most areas will at least see some light amounts of precipitation. The only exceptions may be parts of the far southern tip of Nevada. Otherwise, at least light precipitation with heavier amounts in the higher terrain, especially from the Sierra and over central and northern areas of the Great Basin. So at least we'll be seeing some additions to the snowpack. As we move into Saturday, again, that next system in the northwest flow drops into southern Oregon, pushing that moisture through the Great Basin. And then by Sunday, we will see that lingering moisture over the eastern side of the Great Basin, but building high pressure along the west coast. And on Monday, that ridge continues to build. There might be some moisture that moves in underneath the ridge, but mostly in the form of cloud cover going into early next week. And then drier conditions continue into the middle of next week as well. The only exception might be up into Idaho or Wyoming or far northern Utah as we get clipped by some of these systems in the northwest flow that drop into the northern Rockies. So our precipitation from Saturday through Monday, again, as those systems move through this weekend, we will see additional snowfall, and again, mostly snowfall in additions to the snowpack over the northern two-thirds of the Great Basin. And then going into next week, we will see those drier conditions. The 7-day total, obviously our heaviest precipitation will be in the higher terrain of Idaho, northern Utah, northern Nevada, the Sierra, and Wyoming, where we will see those amounts you can see in liquid form above 2 inches, so certainly are expecting multiple feet of new snowfall in the higher terrain. The 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from January 17th through the 25th, shows warmer conditions but better chances of above normal precipitation for the west. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Friday for the latest updates.